Good afternoon. Once again, this is Mr. Onyambu taking you through a lesson in English under the topic sentence, subtopic past participle. We are still working on how do we write a past participle in sentences, especially when we are starting a sentence. In the previous lesson, we looked at the present participle in sentences, especially joining two sentences using the present participle. We realized one thing that was very unique, that those participles start a sentence. Similar information or criteria we are going to use in a past participle. To set us off is how are past participles made in a verb. So most past participles are actually verbs that end in either ed, d, en, t, ed also. Most of these regular verbs do have their past participle in a fixed form, in that it is either d or ed. On the other hand, we have irregular verbs that have varying forms of past participle, which the learner should practice well to know them correctly. Therefore, as we move into the topic of the past participle and rewriting them in a sentence, one thing should be very clear to the learner. Take time to understand all the verbs in their various tenses. That is the present tense, past tense, and especially for this class, past participle. Knowing them very well will help you when you are rewriting sentences. One thing that I should be able to point out at this point is that each time you use a past participle to rewrite a sentence or rewriting a sentence will help you communicate well and clearly. I've given an example, the first example there. Corrected from the mischief, the students promised to behave well. That sentence has started with a verb, which is corrected. And that brings it to qualify to be a past participle type of a sentence. Functions of past participle, there are many. But for this class, we are going to look at one or two, and especially how past participles are used in the sentence construction. One, for example, you still have a past participle which is used to make a past perfect tense in a sentence. For example, I had come to watch the movie. Had come is a past perfect aspect in a sentence. They had slaughtered the bull. Another sentence, he had gone home. All those ones are sentences in their past perfect tense. Mandela picks the fruits. That is a sentence in active voice. In passive voice, you will say, fruits were picked by Monday. That sentence shows you that we can still use a past participle to make a passive voice in sentences. A past participle can be used as an adjective in a sentence to modify nouns. The examples are there. She licked her cracked lips to moisten them. We walked through a cleared field. Some airborne diseases can be prevented. Cracked lips, cleared field, airborne diseases are examples of past participle that are used together to modify the nouns. And the nouns are there. The lips is modified by cracks. Cleared also is modified by field. And then diseases are actually modified by airborne, which are a past participle. The next is the grief-stricken victims kept quiet. The quick-witted pilot saved the passengers. Another function of a past participle is that a past participle phrase can be used to show one thing happens because of another. For example, anchored by her remarks, the third drew his gun. One action leading to another. The first action happened that the remarks the speaker made anchored the third, and that resulted in the next action, which is drawing out the gun. Therefore, we say anchored by her remarks, the third drew his gun. Sentence number 2, aided by his walking stick, the old woman limped towards the crowd. The first action is walking stick, and the second one is the movement towards the crowd. So it is aided, therefore, by the walking stick, the old woman limped towards the crowd. Aided by his walking stick is our past participle. It has been used to start a sentence and qualifies to be a past participle sentence, therefore. Similar case with anchored by his remarks. There is something very keenly you need to observe as we look at these sentences, that they must start with a past participle verb. And what is that verb? The verb must come from the main verb in the sentences that they are given to join together using a past participle. Delayed by lack of a quorum, the meeting began late. Delayed by the lack of quorum is our participle, past participle phrase. Propelled by determination to win, Tessie pushed onto the finishing line. Propelled by determination to win is our past participle phrase in that sentence. I will emphasize the fact that always start with the main verb of one of the sentences that you're given, and let it be the one starting that sentence. Past participle can also be used as an adjective to modify nouns in a sentence. Look at the sentences that we have there. Kish was deceived by his friends. He spent all the money. Join into a sentence using a participle. Deceived by his friends, Kish spent all his money. Deceived by his friends, all of that phrase defines or modifies Kish. And then we see it is that first action of deception that leads to next action, which is spending. So deceived by his friends, Kish spent all his money. The criminal was shaken by the discovery. He confessed. Join those sentences using a participle again. Maybe particularly we have said a past participle. Then it will be shaken by the discovery, the criminal confessed. Let's look keenly at that participle. The criminal was shaken by the discovery. We have picked the main verb in the first sentence, shaken, and we have started by it. Therefore, for us to come up with a right past participle phrase, use the main verb in the first sentence, and therefore make it a past participle. As we have done, shaken by the discovery, the criminal confessed. Another sentence, the students were fascinated by her adventures. They asked to continue explaining. Join into a sentence using a participle with the same criteria. Therefore, we have fascinated by his adventures. The students asked her to continue explaining. Supposed to be fascinated by her adventures. The student asked her to continue explaining. Still, I want us to note that fascinated by his adventures is our sentence in a past participle phrase. The past participle phrase can also can be used in can appear in various positions in a sentence. It can appear in sentence initial. For example, tired of her tricks, Mary refused to listen to her cousin. Tired matrix is the initial position of a sentence. And one thing that we should note here is that every time you're using a past participle in the initial position, a comma must be used to determine or to separate the past participle from the main sentence in that structure. All participle phrases can take a negative or negator in a sentence. For example, can take a negator in a sentence which is placed in front of a participle. For example, not worried about the rain, the athlete continued running. The negation is there clearly, it is not. And then we have a past participle being worried out there. So not worried about the rain, the athlete continued running out there. Just to wind up, that having looked through the past participle out there, you can use that during on your own to try as much as you can to make sentences, to construct sentences following the concept that we've used out there. To try the 3 sentences that are there out there. That we write the following sentences according to the instructions given. After each, you don't change the meaning. John finished washing, so he left for the gym. Some people begin with having. Some people who are afraid of technology believe that technology will take over their lives. We write with a participle out there. And lastly, the politicians were convinced that he could not win the elections. He started campaigning early. We write also using a participle into a participle sentence. That marks the end of the lesson today. Thank you for listening to me and have a wonderful day.